Is it just me, or is this bunny just way too happy about its situation right now? Let's talk about the Easter egg launcher. I want to start right off with a plug to my video earlier today on how to buff your mag size on your rocket launchers hugely. That is a fantastic way to use this weapon, and I highly recommend checking it out because you're not going to need a mag perk after you watch that video if you choose to use it this way. But the Easter egg launcher is something that I'm so happy to talk about because it got a major buff in the recent update. In the 12.0 update, this weapon went from like a base 150 damage, which is low for rockets, to a 347. For reference, a Santa's Little Helper has a base 625, which means you are effectively doing half the shot of a Santa's Little Helper with a 6-round magazine that you can spam endlessly, and of course way more if you use the loadout in the description below. This weapon is hugely powerful after that change and is actually extraordinarily powerful in the 140 zones. That might be a bit hyperbole. I don't want to knock this thing too far out of the park, but I really want to drive home that the Easter egg launcher is worth another look if you wrote this weapon off over a year ago, because we're not talking about the same weapon. Let's get right into the perks. I'm rolling triple damage on this because of a couple of reasons. First off, I want to address the fact that it has affliction damage, and in recent changes, affliction got a lot stronger. That is a very, very nice thing to have. I'm not sure all of the different 6 perks that are on this. Seeing as it's a shop weapon, I assume they're standardized and everybody has affliction. However, for the future, slowed and snared is nice to have, and I can't even think of the other options. So we do have a damage to afflicted here, and I want to get that out of the way right away because that 45% extra damage is nice to see. However, it doesn't actually catch up until the 3rd shot. Let me explain. Your first shot will get no damage buff. The second shot, they'll be afflicted, which means you'll do 45%, and then if you cut that in half to, make the average, you've only actually effectively achieved a 22.5% damage buff, and then it's only after the 3rd shot that you get another 45% damage bonus that you've equaled out to a 30% damage buff, which you just would have gotten in the first place if you had a normal damage perk. That's only going to matter on the biggest of enemies like smashers and mist monsters, and by that point you're just going to be spamming it anyway, and I doubt you're going to be counting your shots. So I think for all around use you can just go triple damage on this. However, maximum DPS is probably going to be a crit rating, crit damage, damage to afflicted build, which I hate doing because you guys know that crit builds on a rocket launcher is almost always not recommended. This is a faster firing grenade launcher style weapon, so you might be able to get away with crit rating, crit damage, but come on, if you're going to be shooting in a field of zombies, you just want to get off as much damage right now as fast as possible, and most enemies are going to die in 1 to 2 shots anyway, so I really don't think it's worth it to run crit builds on this. However, if you are an absolute fiend for knowing you have the theoretical highest DPS, you can go for that if you so please. I'm going to keep it triple damage, and I'm going to be happy while doing it, because you can see me shredding these zombies in a 140 zone, and I was solo, so I don't really think you need a crit build on this. However, you can totally go for that. And I wanted to talk about the mag size perk here, because it's either damage, crit rating, crit damage, you can do whatever you want. The element we'll talk about at the end, but reload I think is kind of the only true way to go here, because I don't know what the base reload is on this, but with a reload perk we're down to 1.7, and I do remember it being quite slow. So you want to have a minimal downtime when you're not in the action. You want to just reload, get your shots into your weapon, and then just start shooting right after that. You don't want to be worrying about a mag size because it's kind of the same deal with shotguns. You're basically just delaying the inevitable. Like, you're going to have to reload eventually. If you use the loadout that I plugged earlier in the video and you're able to triple your magazine size, you might be able to get away with never having to reload anyway, because with a mag size perk on this, buffing it up to like 10 or 12 shots, you're going to get way more than 30 or 40 shots off without actually having to reload. So you might be able to go with an extra mag perk if you absolutely want to spam this thing, but I'm going to prefer reload because it's a better all-around build. And as for the element, it's the same thing as always. I'll link my element guide in the description below. Energy is just best all around because of chromium husks immediately in the game. As of recording this, fire and water is a bit more favorable, but that's not going to be true in the long run. And you can totally go physical if you're still in some of those lower zones where you're not really dealing with elemental zombies as much. Energy is just sort of better all around when you get into the late game like Canny and Twine. So that's the best perks for the Easter egg launcher. A fantastic weapon that I think deserves a little bit more attention, seeing as they've buffed this weapon very, very quietly. Epic didn't announce anything about it, but it is a much, much stronger weapon than we initially knew. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching. And then